Welcome once again to the world's most award-laden podcast, Group Chat After Dark. I am your co-host, and my name is Bandit. Joining me is the Magnet. How are you, my friend?
America. USA, number one.
I don't even know.
So for the cultured members of the internet, the United States played a soccer game today, known in other parts of the world as football, and they won. So they're now into the second round.
Yes, it was a high-scoring game that only took 4.5 hours. They defeated Iran 1-0, and everybody lost their minds.
That was a hard-fought one. Okay.
Well,
you know what else we're 1-0 in? Vietnam Wars. Okay.
I mean, that's debatable, but anyway, not to get into any of that, but here we are. It is once again, we've fallen back in our old habits. We're right here at the end of November, releasing our November show. But, you know, we jumped the gun last month. We had a topic all ready to go, and we did it, pretty early in the month.
We did, yeah.
So we're like, we'll just hang out. We're fine. We got plenty of time. No, we don't. We never.
Well, then I think we forgot what month it is because I don't have any clue of the passage of time these days. So.
Well, and you also, it's that time of year. Pretty much from November 1st, you are, whether you recall or not, you have made plans for pretty much every week and every weekend until the end of the year. And so you're booked, you're gone. If you're me, your kids get sick every other day.
Yes.
And anyway, it's an exciting time.
They attend one giant pool of germs. So, I mean, it's inevitable that that's going to happen.
When you spend 8 hours a day inside a petri dish, it's pretty much, and you have little to no immune system, you're going to pick up pretty much anything and everything that walks through the door.
Maybe that's how COVID started.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is.
The government injected children with a virus.
It's one of those, and it's I believe still pretty much true to this day, considering this podcast was born out of the pandemic. Kids just really don't, for the most part, get bothered by COVID. They're just like, they either don't get it, or if they do, they're like, I'm sick.
Yeah. Oh, my nose is sniffly. Sorry.
Yeah. So kids, remarkably, I don't know what, because normally, and I'm not going to get on this soapbox, but normally, anytime there's some sort of virus or disease, or it affects the very old and the very young. For whatever reason, the children thrive with the COVID. So I don't know what that's about, but maybe we'll never know.
Well, you know what prevents the spread of germs, right?
Cleanliness.
And you know what the number one best-selling product in the history of Shark Tank is, right?
Bombas.
No. Scrub Daddy. Bombas is too cheap. So we moved to Scrub Daddy season 2, season 3, whatever season this is.
That's right. I actually think we ditched them like mid-season.
Because Bombas wouldn't pay us enough. So here we are.
Yeah, Coors Light.
But, to prevent the spread of germs, use your Scrub Daddy. Scrub all of the food particles and nasty boogers and stuff you leave on your plate after you're done eating. And you'll have a much happier life. And then you can flip it over or run it under some hot water and it will get soft and you can scrub your face off.
I wouldn't put it on your face.
Scrub it with your it's what it's for. That's why it's smiling.
Plethora of things on here. Household, kitchen, outdoor, bathroom.
See? Bathroom.
But shower, sink, and toilet fixtures and cabinets.
Shower.
Nowhere does it say use this on your body.
In the shower, in the bathroom.
I would not put it on your body.
Well, internet, if you try this, report back to us in the comments about how it went with the Scrub Daddy on your face.
Ripping your face off.
I'm sure everybody could use a nice dermafoliation exfoliating scrub.
Michael, let me ask you this question. Let's say I want to use the Scrub Daddy, but I feel like I might need a softer side.
Yes,
Is there a product for me in the Scrub Daddy family?
there is. It's the Scrub Daddy's kind of in touch with his feminine side and has Scrub Mommy,
The
the
Scrub
the
Mommy?
wife of Scrub Daddy. Yes.
No way.
Now,
I just happen to have one right here in the studio.
now they have had children, but they are estranged from their children, and we don't know if Scrub Child is around. We're not really sure what happened. Maybe CPS took Scrub Child.
CPS took a baby. Her.
She's crying. Her.
But as you see, Scrub Mommy is a double-sided scrubber and sponge.
Yes. You
Scrub
didn't no
Daddy,
no
he's
change of
kind of
water.
he's flex texture scrubber all the way around.
Could you use
Scrub
Scrub Mommy
Mommy,
on your face?
uh, I don't know. It still doesn't say anywhere here about using it on your face. Yeah, it's pretty much the same stuff for both products, but it's also apparently the parent company of Scrub Daddy is the Smile Face Sponge Company because that's what they both say right here.
Well, that's good branding, I guess.
Something.
The thing that always weirds me out is when people scrub spoons and stuff in the mouth of the Scrub Daddy. Have you ever watched that?
Well, I have not, but it is depicted right here on the
It's
box.
very creepy. It looks like
Mm.
you're gagging the Sponge
Yeah,
Daddy.
it definitely does. So,
Well, Scrub Daddy, if you're out there and you want us to continue to plug your product, send us a few shekels in the mail.
shekels. Nice. Well, once again, you have knocked it out of the park with your ad read and your segue from whatever bullshit we're talking about before the ad read. So I
Yeah.
commend you. You always do a marvelous job with our pretend ad reads for our pretend sponsors.
Well, and you mentioned Bombas there, and
I
everybody
did.
knows what their favorite thing to get for the holidays is from your parents, usually underwear and socks.
Yeah.
Always. Every year, you're going to get at least one or the other. And you're going to be like, I didn't need either of these. Why did you give them to me?
You know
And
what? I believe last year at Christmas, inside of my stocking, because my mother always, I'm damn near 40 years old, and my mother still gets me a stocking every year. She
yep.
stuffs a stocking for me. And there were some Bombas. There were socks in my stocking.
See,
Um,
it's inevitable.
yeah,
So we are both children of the 90s.
we are.
What what was the so when you got the socks and underwear and the other bullshit that you didn't actually want, what did you actually want for Christmas? What was the number one thing?
So, as we're segueing into our actual topic, I took the liberty of pulling up an article here. It's from Yahoo Finance. The name of the article is I had that every year's top holiday toy craze since 1989. As you mentioned, my formative years were in the 90s. So I very much identify with number 1990 on the list here, the year 1990, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ah,
Because if you can't tell from my
yes, there's many turtles down there.
glorious china cabinet over here full of Ninja Turtles, I still love the Ninja
And
Turtles
a creepy
because
Urkel.
and a creepy Urkel. But I grew up in the height of Turtle Mania, so for many Christmases, the big thing on my list and what was waiting for me under the tree inevitably was something Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle related. So, how about for you?
I think so. I was very much influenced by the um, pop culture at the time. So many things like I got so many of those stupid ass footballs with the wing on the back. What were
Yeah,
those
the
called?
Vortex.
Yeah, the vortex. Yeah, and then my dog inevitably would eat it or something. Oh.
Oh, okay.
My dog would eat it, and then I would have to get another one like the next year. But I had a lot on this list. I'm looking at it a couple of these, so we'll jump into it. I had oh man, I think I had all of these. I am not kidding you.
Are you on the
Oh
same article?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh nope. Okay, 2002. That's when I was starting to get too old for this shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
it goes, I mean, it goes way up past my uh real, Christmas didn't mean as much to me because I was not a child. So,
So I did not have any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures.
well, that is evident by your lack of respect for literally everything.
Well, if I was in a nuclear accident and it gave me superpowers, I would try to get famous too. You
It
know,
did not give them
you got you
superpowers,
got the
you
turtles, you
fool.
got Alex Mack, and you got
Because
and you,
that's always the parallel.
and you got Godzilla. You know, who's gonna win in a fight? My money's on Alex Mack because she could turn into silver slime.
She could turn into a puddle of reflective water and move things with her mind. I mean, she had a pretty good shot.
She
The
did.
Ninja Turtles did not have superpowers. They were just mutated and became humanoid turtles that then learned the art of ninjutsu.
Is that not a superpower?
It's not a superpower. They're mutant freaks,
Well,
and
you
then they
know who
were
really did have
trained.
superpowers? The Power Rangers. Okay,
No, no.
Power Rangers are much better.
Power Rangers are trash, and everybody knows that. Although I have been, it is well known that I will talk trash about the Power Rangers to anyone and everyone any given moment. However, there's a dark cloud over the Power Ranger family right now as they just lost one of their
They did.
OG
Yeah.
Rangers to suicide, which is very sad.
It is very
Uh,
sad. He played a
so
couple of Rangers, didn't he? Wasn't he the Green Ranger and the Red Ranger and the White Ranger at one point?
I think so. I fell into the trap of the Power Rangers, the
Yes.
original
The
version.
Japanese ripoff. Yes.
Yeah, which I'm not gonna go there because this is a sad time for Power Ranger fans, but I was in that original version and he was around for that. And I believe in that one he was the Green Ranger and then the White Ranger because ultimately they ran out of footage of there was no more Green Ranger in the
Yeah.
Japanese footage that they used for the fight scenes, so they had to swap him. But yes, yeah, that's my memory of it. So unfortunate that's a very sad circumstance. So I will not mock the Power Rangers for this episode.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
But
I'm looking at,
what year are they? They are 94, the Mighty
oh,
Morphin Power
wow, it was
Rangers.
that early, huh? I thought it was later than that. I was actually banned from watching Power Rangers as a child.
A lot, I remember, yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
people were because of the
yeah,
violence.
yeah, that was right. Yeah. I
My
did it. I
parents
watched
pretty
it
much,
anyway.
yeah,
But
my parents really didn't give a shit what I watched. So I was always watching the Power Rangers, and a lot of people were like, my parents won't let me watch it. But of
well,
course,
now you think
had to have
about
the
it,
toys.
and like we watch wrestling, that's way worse than Power Rangers. So like I feel like our parents were in like looking at the wrong stuff.
Well, and I always tell people my parents didn't care what I watched, but they also like my dad was always really good about explaining fantasy versus reality.
Nice.
Like even as a kid, like I'd be watching like Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, and we'd something crazy would happen, and I'd laugh, and he'd be like, "That's pretty funny, right?" But that couldn't really happen. You couldn't really drop an anvil on somebody like that, like
Yeah. No, that's
so. It
good.
was it was
Yeah.
always kind of ingrained in me because that's always been the argument when violence happens is blame it on television, blame it on video games. And as somebody who grew up watching lots of violent television and played lots of violent video games, at least I had that coaching there to
Yeah.
understand that this is pretend and this is real.
Yeah.
I
That
think a
makes
lot of a
sense.
lot of people lack that, and so I'm always very thankful that my parents were very good about explaining the difference to me, but didn't put any restrictions on what I watched. So I got to consume a lot of things, but I still understood it's not to be emulated.
Right.
Except
Yeah.
for the time I almost cut my nose off with a pair of scissors because I was trying to be Brutus the Barber Beefcake. that that was really early on watching on Saturday mornings, and I got the scissors and was doing this because he would get in the camera with the
Cutting
hedge
and
trimmers
strutting,
and do it,
man.
and I cut my nose pretty good on both sides.
Nice.
And my mom, I remember being threatened that there would be no more wrestling in the house. So
That's funny.
yeah,
I
it's
when I
funny
was
now.
when I was in kindergarten, this kid tried to pierce his ear with scissors and it didn't work.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that was a fun one. But anyway, I started at the top of the list here, and the number one, and I didn't realize Game Boy came out in 1989.
Yeah,
That's kind of nuts. That's I was still not a human at that
yeah.
point.
You were that was back when you were dead.
Yes, I was really dead. I was not
Yeah.
not alive yet.
That's another thing I always wish I had was a Game Boy. My cousin had one. Of course, my cousin was like in the army. He was much older,
Yeah.
but so anytime I would go to his mom's house, I would be like, "Can we get the Game Boy out?" And I would play with that Game Boy. I always wanted one.
I remember, yeah, one of my cousins had a Game Boy. He was the first to get the Game Boy. It was the white and red one.
Yep.
And then I didn't get one until they were smaller. It was the Game Boy Pocket.
Yeah. And see,
And then
I
and
never
I
had
got Game
any of
Boy
those.
Color. I was hardcore into Game Boy for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it was huge. Like I just after that, I don't know why I never really got into any of the other versions.
Every time,
But
well, there's another toy later on this list where Game Boy really made a comeback that we'll talk about.
okay.
That was formative for me, but I always lost the stupid cover for the batteries on the Game Boy.
Of course you did.
It's so they would constantly fall out. Just
Yes.
every couple of hours, the batteries would fall out of that thing. So we talked about Turtles. We talked about the Game Boy. Number three for 1991. I think it's a big one.
It's a
Super
huge one.
Nintendo.
Another one that I never had.
I never had Super Nintendo either. I only had regular Nintendo.
Yep, we did too. We had regular Nintendo, which I loved. Super Nintendo, I wanted so badly.
Yes. Okay, what's your number one game you wanted to play on Super Nintendo? Because I know what mine was.
I have to go with three because and they're all Mario games. I can't help it, but I wanted Super Mario World because that was the game. I think that was the one that the pack-in, like everybody had Super Mario
Probably,
World.
yeah.
Um, Super Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I always wanted to play. And then there was a really weird game, and my neighbors had all these. I used to go to my neighbors and play Super Nintendo all the time. It's just a really weird game. It was called Mario Paint, and it
Mario
was like,
Paint.
yeah, it was like the game came with a mouse, and it was like, yeah, it was way ahead of its time as far as a video game. But it was like Microsoft Paint, except it was Mario pictures, and you kind of not even paint by number, but you could fill in the lines or you could create your own pictures and everything. And that's what it was. It was Microsoft Paint, but Mario themed on the Super Nintendo. And I loved playing Mario Paint at my neighbor's house.
That is bizarre. I
Yes,
have never heard of that game until this moment in my life.
it's a thing. You should look it up. It'll change your life.
Well, number one game I wanted for Super Nintendo was NBA Jam. It wasn't even
Oh
close.
yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to play the big head mode with
Yeah.
all my favorite basketball players.
With all
And
your favorite faceless. Well, no, because NBA Jam, I'm thinking
yeah,
College Slam, the knockoff. I love the
yeah.
College Slam knockoff.
One of my friends had it, and I would go to his house on weekends and play it for like hours.
Yeah.
So yes, I really wanted the Super Nintendo
Yeah.
really
I
badly.
I years later I snagged myself one of the little miniature ones.
Nice.
In the last 5 years, whenever that came out, I was like, you know what? I never had a Super Nintendo. I'm getting this one. So
That's
had to
awesome. What
do it.
games does it have?
It has Super Mario Kart. It has Super Mario World. Um there's like some random game that they know like Star Fox 2 or something that they never released that they put on it to like goose sales for it. It's got a lot of different things. But of
E.T. the
course
game.
it does not have ET the game. That was for Atari, which is another great story. But yeah, so that it has a bunch. I obviously don't play it nearly as much as I probably should, but it has all the Mario favorites. It does not have Mario Paint though, unfortunately.
Yeah, that one seems kind of niche.
Yeah, it did not come with the tiny little mouse.
Did you ever have, so this is totally random, and not related to this list at all, but I'm going
Okay.
to say it anyway. So we both had regular Nintendo. Did you have the trackpad for Nintendo where you had to run on it to like simulate track?
No, I did not, but I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
We had it and it was nuts.
Yeah.
You would break like a full sweat playing that game because you had to
That's
do all the
awesome.
events,
Yeah.
sprinting, long jump. It was crazy.
I
But
remember because it's one
yeah,
of those like rare now, like in the like vintage collector world of like if you have that like still in its box, it's
yeah.
worth a lot of money. So I'm aware of it just because of that, but I never had it or knew anybody that had that game growing up.
That was a fun one. Yeah, that was fun. So if you get a chance to try it, check it out. But I'm just gonna ping around the list now
Okay.
because
Yeah.
next is Barney. We already talked about Barney.
Barney. Yeah,
Barney's
92.
covered extensively in season 3, episode 9 of Group Chat After Dark.
It's behind a paywall, so you're gonna
You have to subscribe to our Patreon. Slap this button down here to get exclusive content.
These
Streaming
are jokes.
exclusively
There is no
on
paywall.
Patreon
There are,
Prime.
yeah. We will not beg for likes or subscribes.
No, no, we didn't. We not really care. But French people, if you're out there watching and you
Yeah,
want you want to check out the Barney episode, it's
absolutely.
somewhere below probably.
It's there.
So Pogs is next. Now I remember
Pause.
Pogs. I never played Pogs. I just had them and kind of fucked around.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got the snake Pog.
That's
Blah.
kind of me too. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
every now and then we would play, but it was mainly just a collection. Like it
yeah,
was not, I didn't actually play Pogs frequently. So
yeah. So if somebody knows how you actually play Pogs, let us know.
if if I remember, it was basically just you stacked them all up in the middle and you took the slammer thing and you slam it down.
Oh,
And depending on, I think any Pogs that landed face up, you got to keep.
that's
And
right.
any that
No,
were
that's
face
right.
down went back in the stack, and then the other person went,
Because
and
if
that
you
was how
were,
it went.
yeah, if you were like hardcore, you would play them for keepsies.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that was I never wanted to lose any of my Pogs, so I'd never
yeah,
actually play anybody.
that's right.
So, but yeah, I think that was the idea was that I might have it backwards, it might be face down, but either way, whatever, basically you were, and you mean you traded them anyway, but it was like I didn't want to risk losing them in a game, so
Yeah.
we would just stack them up and be like, no, we're not playing for keeps. But anyway,
So next is Power Rangers. We're gonna skip
uh,
that because Power
yeah.
Rangers sucks. Um,
Hey, come on, show a little respect.
no, it sucks. It's just a ripoff of a Japanese cartoon. Anyway, uh, next on the list, this was actually huge for me.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay,
also grew up with two sisters, so there's that.
true. I mean, I
But
did too, but
yeah,
we skipped
next
this
is
one for some reason.
Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were huge for me growing up. I don't know why my particular social circle was really into Beanie Babies, but we were, and you could not take the tag off the ear. They
Oh yeah, yeah,
had to stay on. I probably
yeah.
had like 20 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, quite a
I
bit.
remember the craze of the Beanie Babies. It was not for me. I was about 10 years old when Beanie Babies came around, and I didn't get into it. I remember my younger sister had some Beanie Babies, but it was after the craze. Like they were still around. I mean, they're still around now, but
Weren't people buying that up like kind of like NFTs now and like trying to
oh yeah,
sell them off for millions of dollars to
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely,
fund things? Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. They were people the values that people were putting on them because of their rarity or whatever. Yeah, they were investments for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would feel
Yeah.
like that's not something that I would want to get into. Um,
Well, you did.
I know, right? Well, peer pressure, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I just Googled what the most expensive Beanie Baby was of all time.
Yeah.
And oh shoot, it went in reverse order. Hold on, I gotta scroll.
Oh boy. Technical difficulties here on group chat after fart or dark.
I think it's that tie-dye one, but I can't remember.
I just for some reason something sticks out in my head about a Princess Diana Beanie Baby that was worth a
Oh,
lot of
you're
money.
right. Yeah,
Was that it?
Princess Bear. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Also known as the Princess Diana Bear, was released in October 1997.
That's
They're purple with a white ribbon and white rose, and there were only 12 of them.
okay, yeah. I just recall something about that, and that's probably somebody's made jokes about it or something that it's stuck in my mind that there's a Princess Diana bear. But only 12, I mean, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, yeah. Number 2 is Bubbles the Fish, and number 3 is Piccadilly Attic. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's a bear wearing a clown suit. That's Piccadilly Attic. I don't know why
Okay.
it's called that,
Well,
but there you go.
I think it's best not to question it, really.
So yeah. For some reason, Bubbles the Fish it's just a regular yellow clownfish, and it's very expensive. Sold
Well,
for as much as $129,000.
oh my God, for a
Yeah.
tiny little toy stuffed with beans.
So there you go. Now we're gonna skip Tickle Me Elmo. I think both of us missed Tickle Me Elmo. That's kind of a baby toy.
Well, I mean, it was not for me, but I just remember the craze surrounding it.
I heard a rumor about Tickle Me Elmo one time.
Uh-oh.
It was that he was embedded with Chinese government secrets, and if you got the right Tickle Me Elmo, it would start speaking the Chinese government secrets
Wow,
to
I never heard
children.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I just remember because I think like during the 80s, the Cabbage Patch dolls were the things that like parents would maul each other for to get them for their kids for
Turbo
Christmas.
Man.
Yeah, yeah, like that. I mean, there's a whole movie based on the you trying to get your kid the one thing they want that every other parent's trying to get. Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. Um,
Sinbad.
but Tickle Me Elmo, I just remember that one. I mean, people were going nuts for those things,
Yeah.
and yeah, I like it wasn't for me. I was too old, but yeah, that was. I just remember the mania surrounding it because it was another. I mean, the footage of people trampling and just they had to get these dolls, so it's crazy. Oh, yep, crowds are rushing to get their hands on the doll. Sent one store employee in Canada to the hospital.
Nice.
It says about Tickle Me Elmo.
Wow.
So
Now, did you have a Tamagotchi?
I had
Knockoff Tamagotchi?
what was it called? Gigapet.
Yep. I had one of those
Gigapet.
too.
That was
Yeah.
like the big, like the American
Yeah.
version of Tamagotchi. Um, I had this is terrible because 1997, I am very much uh right there at pubescence, and so I kept telling people for my birthday I wanted a Tamagotchi monkey because to discipline the monkey,
Oh, Spank the Monkey.
there
Yeah.
was only one way to discipline the monkey, and
Uh-huh.
it was to spank it. So of course I'd be like, "Look, I'm spanking my monkey." That was my
Classic.
dipping my toe in the water of the
Edgy.
virtual pets.
Yeah,
Yes,
edgy
yes,
humor
it was
there.
all for humor. I didn't care if he died or not. I just look, I can spank my monkey anytime I want. So hilarious. I'm like Carrot Top. I'm a prop comic.
I had a Gigapet as well. It was the official Jurassic World Gigapet, a baby
Oh,
T-Rex.
nice.
Yes. And I was just having to Google it here on my other screen. And this guy on Reddit has one. He's 27 years old.
The Tamagotchi or the
Yeah.
Gigapet is?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's kept him alive for 27 years old. And he's wondering if he changes the battery, will the 27-year-old Gigapet die?
Wow.
I'm going to click on it and see what it says. Oh, there's only 5 comments. Uh-oh. No one knows.
I Googled the monkey Gigapet and here it is. It was called the Microchimp by Tiger Electronics. I had to Google it.
Wow. Well, yeah, my sister and I had a Tamagotchi, and I think they both died. So there's that.
Because weren't Tamagotchis just like they didn't really look like anything. They were just like
I think they were just blobs. They look
well,
like
yeah, like
fuzzy
little
blobs.
blobs with a face and
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
then
I'm fairly certain that we got Gigapets because I don't even think they sold Tamagotchis in America for very
I
long.
think they did, but it was just of course, the American toy makers had to jump in on the craze. But anyway, I think they did, but I don't know because again, my whole experience with it, I was too old, but my experience with it was the purple monkey that I like to spank.
Nice.
So yeah,
I think my sister had the purple monkey.
yeah, the microchimp.
Yeah. Um.
Although that doesn't make any sense because clearly in this picture he has a tail, and chimpanzees do not have tails.
Oh yeah.
So somebody at Tiger wasn't doing their homework on the great apes. Anyway,
I'm sure
moving
they don't
on.
care.
No.
Well, next on the list, I had one of these, and it was it was
Super creepy.
a nightmare. Next on the list is Furby.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I had a Furby. He was yellow and
I did
black,
too.
tiger stripes,
Ours was
and
gray and black tiger stripes, so that's funny. We had cousin Furbies.
and it would constantly be hungry, and then it got sick and just said Furby sick, and then it would vomit.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, or sneeze. It would also sneeze. It would go, achoo.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my Furby may have been the origin of the COVID pandemic.
Could have been.
Maybe it
Because
had coronavirus before all of us.
I remember when we got a Furby, it was like, of course, it was the craze. Like, you had to have a Furby. We got a Furby, and like the first night, we were like, oh, this thing's really cool. And then after that, it was just really fucking irritating. Like,
Did
no
your
matter
Furby
what.
come on in the middle of the night while it was dark?
Probably, I don't really have any recollection of that, but my big recollection is my sister and I thinking, oh, you're like, okay, well, you keep it in your room tonight, and I'll keep it in my. And then after that, it's like, no, no, you just keep the Furby in your room because it's like it just was so annoying
Yes.
that
Yes.
it was like the novelty of it wore off pretty quickly, and it was like I don't care for this anymore.
Yes. Furby I feel like was like Turbo Man. Like, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, that's my. I remember being so excited when we got home because it could do all these things, and then it's like it doesn't really do much other than be annoying and make a lot of racket. So I
Yeah.
know the next one on your list was all you, and I was never a part of it.
Pokemon. Hell yeah. Yeah, I used to go to Pokemon shows and
Wow.
tournaments, Pokemon tournaments.
Wow.
And then there was an episode of Pokemon where Pikachu considers leaving Ash to live in the herd of wild Pikachus. And it made me cry as a young child.
Oh God.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
in 1999, you were
I was
how old?
9. Yeah.
You were 9. Oh, that's
Yes.
right, because you're a 90. Okay, 1990. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
So
yeah.
and actually I think Game Boy resurged at this point because Pokemon Blue and Red were two of
Hmm.
the most popular Game Boy games, and actually, I think people still play them. Um,
Probably.
Ever to be released, those were the first two Pokemon games. The same game, different. You could have different Pokemon in different games. So if you got Blue, it was more water Pokemon. If it was Red, you got more fire Pokemon.
Okay, because
Yeah,
they still do that. I see it every
yeah.
couple of
The
years. There's
one
a new
after that, I think, was
Pokemon.
Lightning. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
it's two versions of the same game.
Silver and Gold, and all
Yeah,
these kinds of stuff, Ruby and Emerald or something.
yeah.
So yeah, but no, the cards that was really popular. People, I had a binder full of them, just full of Pokemon cards.
Wow.
Yeah, and you traded them just like you traded Pogs, kind of same deal. You just didn't want to like accidentally trade your good cards for shitty cards or something.
Yeah,
So you had to know. And
of course,
there's a official Pokemon handbook in the picture here. I have that book somewhere. I'll have to find it.
of course, of course you do.
Yeah,
Probably signed
no,
by
not signed by
Pokemon himself.
Pokemon. Do you know? Okay, do you know what Pokemon is short for?
Chim Pokemon?
No, it's
No,
short.
I don't.
It's short for Pocket Monsters.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
No, I've never heard that actually.
that's yep. It comes from the
Okay.
Japanese. Yeah, the Pocket Monsters. They shortened it to
Okay.
Pokemon.
That makes sense.
So there you go. And then everything else I think had Mon after it for a while. So Digimon was a thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember
So
Digimon. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but I do remember it being a thing.
yeah. And then the next year on the list here is the Razor scooter. I also had one of these.
Really?
Yes, they destroyed my shins because
I never did.
I tried so hard to be able to do one of those kickflip things
Yeah.
with it, the whip, like the whip scooter whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could never get it. But yeah, no,
I
I had one. It was a
I
lot of
never
fun.
and that's probably due to my environment. There were not a lot of places to ride a Razor scooter on
In
the
the road.
mountain. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, the road wasn't even like in front of my house. There's like a driveway that you go like so it's like I couldn't even just go out in the road and ride it because I'd have to carry it up the hill and go out and around. So skateboards, rollerblades, anything like that, I just never really got into. We had bikes. That was
Yeah.
about it because
Yeah.
and they had to be mountain bikes because it
Because
was
you lived on
all
a mountain.
gravel, yeah, on a
Yeah.
mountain, and so scooters and skateboards and all that stuff. We just didn't have a spot for it.
Yeah,
So
the thing I never understood about the Razor scooter, it was not really that much more efficient than walking. Like you could never really go very fast because it's all human powered. And now they
yeah,
have these scooters that the electric scooters, now those are the shit.
yes,
Um, but
yeah.
but these ones back in the day, kind of lame. However, it did prepare me for being an adult driving a electric scooter at top speed through the streets of Austin, Texas. That was pretty fun. So yeah, and then we kind of get into the next couple. I think we got too old for some of these stuff,
Yeah.
so I'm skipping a bunch. But I think one famous thing on here is the Xbox 360,
Oh yeah.
because we played the shit out of the Xbox
Yep.
360 for a long time. Now, you may not remember this, but I was like anti Xbox
Yes,
for
I
a
do
while. I
remember
didn't
that.
even
Yeah.
have one,
Yep.
and then I got one, and it was like, oh
Your
wow,
life changed forever.
yeah, yeah.
Um, this when I saw this on the list, it reminded me of how I got my Xbox 360. Um, it was the first year of like Amazon doing these deals for like the holiday season. And I'll never forget, I was in college at this point. I
Yeah.
was home for Thanksgiving, and my mom had somehow gotten a line on uh the deal. They were going to sell Xbox 360s for $100, and there was only a limited number at this price point. So Thanksgiving Day, we're down at my grandmother's house. My mom and I leave at the time when the sale's going to happen. We go up and we get on the computer and we try to get this Xbox, and we managed to get one. And I can't remember how many. It might have been like 500. Anyway, we somehow managed to get one. And you might not have known this, but when they released these things, there were like four different versions of the Xbox 360. There was the base model.
Oh, that's right.
There was
Yeah.
the I
Yeah.
forget the Elite. Like they had like three different tiers of the console.
Yeah. One had
And
that
so
big ass hard drive on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it had an attachable hard drive. The one I got was the base model that just came with a controller and I think nothing else for $100. And that is how I got my first Xbox 360 because my mom had some upset. Like I don't know, my mom almost was as obsessed with it as I was to try and get the deal on this thing, and we've somehow managed to do
Could
it.
you imagine getting an Xbox for $100?
No, because I don't remember what they even cost like retail at the time.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the crazy part was like $100, even for the crappy base model. It may have been
Yeah.
$200. It was like you got $100 off of it. But that's how I got it. And of course that's the one I kept for a long time.
Wow.
It was the one that gave me the red ring of death multiple times. And
You had to
so
put a wet
anyway,
towel on it and start it up.
it wasn't a wet towel. You just wrapped it in a towel because basically it was bad soldering that was
Oh,
that
so
would
you're just
cause red.
remelting it.
Yeah, you'd wrap it in a towel, leave it on, and so it couldn't vent. It would heat up. It'd secure that bond again, and then a few days later it would red ring again because that solder was just really weak. So, but yeah, you could extend the rather than ship it off to get it fixed. You could cheat it for a little while. But anyway, all that to say, fond memories of the Xbox 360.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. It's that was a good one. That was one I was like not into video games at that point. So yeah, but that was a good one. So there's a bunch more on here. If you guys want to check out the article,
yeah,
we're not going to go through all of them because a lot of them
no.
don't pertain to stuff that we liked. But um, I wanted to ask you, what was the number one toy of the 90s? So I have two, so I'm going to cheat
Yeah.
the question a little bit. But what was the number one that you always wanted that you never got?
There were many, but the one I discussed with you earlier when we decided on this topic
Many,
for
many
me
hours ago. Yeah.
many, many hours ago, weeks even. Um, for me, the thing that I always wanted, I coveted and never had for myself was the Ghostbusters ghost trap that slid across the floor and
Yes.
you could stomp on and the doors would fly open. Uh, I don't remember. It might have been part of like a whole set or it may have been a standalone toy, but they had like the backpack you wore to be a Ghostbuster and all that stuff. And my buddy Todd had that stuff, and I would beg to play Ghostbusters anytime I was at his house and be like, I want to play Ghostbusters again. And be like, dude, you've got the ghost trap. It's just sitting in there. How are we not playing Ghostbusters right now? Because as we discussed, when you're a kid, it doesn't matter how many toys you have or how cool the toys you have are. You could have the best thing in the world, but the one thing you don't have that your friend does makes it the coolest toy in the world because you do not have it and you've got access to it. Which Todd has always said he liked playing video games with me because I always had the best video games. Well, I liked playing Ghostbusters with him because he had that Ghostbusters stuff, because it didn't matter how cool the games I had were, I had to play Ghostbusters because I couldn't at home. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's probably there's one of yours I'm not going to piggyback on, but that was also a big one for me. I really wanted that, but that probably the most
So,
coveted thing for
so
me
I
was
looked
the
up the Ghost
Ghostbusters
Trap.
stuff.
It is worth $90 used on eBay. So yeah, if you're looking for one, you can get it, but it's going to cost you a little bit.
Well, and there's a lot of research to support that about 30 to 40 years after something is popular, it has a resurgence
Ah,
because the kids that grew up on it
have money.
well, now they have expendable income and they want that stuff. So whether it's new stuff based on that or they're trying to buy back the toys from their childhood, so
Yep.
that stuff 30 to 40 years will really kind of top out as far as its resale value, and then that'll kind of taper off, and then Tickle Me Elmos and all that all that stuff that came later will start coming back. They'll want the original stuff again. So anyway, please
Yeah.
reveal your
No, so
cheating.
my one, number one that will always be in my heart is the Talk Boy from Home Alone. That one, like looking back on it and thinking about the actual usefulness of the Talk Boy, probably not that great. Like you could say like a sentence into there and then play it back to yourself, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, I actually never really saw one in real life. I just really always wanted one because
really.
my dad and me watched Home Alone like every
Yeah,
year for Christmas for like 15 years.
yeah.
Not as many times as I've seen fucking Karate Kid, but but Home Alone's up there. Um, so yeah, that was one I always wanted. But
Yeah.
number two, a surprise revelation was Gak. I always
Oh,
wanted Gak.
Gak. Yeah.
Gak, yeah,
I
from
had Gak.
Nickelodeon.
Trust me, you didn't want Gak.
No, I got to play with Gak one time and it smelled like butt.
It was awful.
Yeah, and that cured me of the Gak, but
Yeah.
damn if those ads did make me really
Oh
want some
yeah.
Gak.
Yeah. That was right. I mean, you were the bullseye of that demographic they were going
Yeah.
for. So you're like kids that like to make fart noises. You shove your thumb in that thing. It was so good for making fart noises. Yeah, but Gak was awful. And yeah, your hands would kind of have that residue on them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it stunk something fierce. So yeah, because I
Yeah,
had Gak.
they really got people with that.
God, I wasted a lot of my parents' money
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking about all
So
this crap. Anyway,
yeah,
well,
and then Kinetic Sand. Did you ever have Kinetic Sand?
I had something similar. Yeah, I remember getting it for my
Moon
birthday or
Sand.
something one
Yeah.
day. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I recall, and it was like, oh, that's kind of because I didn't even know about it. Somebody just got it for me. I was like, that's kind of cool, and I played with it a few times. I I feel like I was just on the cusp of being too old for
I
it at
mean,
the time.
it's kind of those gimmicky toys. It's like
Yeah,
Gak, and
yeah.
slime and uh what's that? The Goosebumps stuff they used to sell, the green slime. Yeah.
That sounds really familiar, but I can't think of what it was.
Yeah. So, but
But
anyway,
yeah, well,
those were the ones. And then I got old and didn't need them anymore. So
yeah,
here we are.
yeah. Me
But
too. I don't really need toys anymore.
yeah, no, you keep buying them. You're single-handedly keeping Kenner Toys in business.
Kenner, my God. Playmates is who made Ninja Turtles. Everybody knows that.
But yeah, this was fun reminiscing on the 90s. So
Yeah.
go out there, get you some Twizzlers, get you some Gak, and reminisce, hold your pogs tightly.
Yeah. Don't play for keeps. It's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, and if you're bored, check out the Barney episode, season 3, episode 9.
You're really proud of that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean it's good, but no. If also internet, if you're interested, look up the dark side of the Double Dare game show. I'll leave you on that cliffhanger. So I'm David Pumpkins. Any questions?
And he's gone just like that. As mysteriously as he appeared, he's gone again. We want to thank you once again for joining us here on Group Chat After Dark and listening to the ramblings of two random dudes. We appreciate that. And I usually plug things here, our other stuff. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I probably still will, but right now there are rumors, lots of rumors abound about the status of Group Chat After Dark, and I can't comment at this time. However, I will say that we will address all these rumors about Group Chat After Dark right here next month on Group Chat After Dark.